Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Sue's here. We're at the start of another Kit Quest Grim Road. Pretty sure I said at the end of the last Jersey Quest it was going to be a Dom Solanke one, and it actually was going to be. It was going to be a Vitesse 2015-16 one, but I actually got into it and started playing it. Like I even recorded the intro and everything, and I got into it and started playing it, and no one would come to the club. Like the transfer, like this transfer system is obviously very different then than it is now in the more modern games. I just couldn't really figure it out. So it might be something we revisit in the future, but for now, I think we're going to stick to kind of FIFA 21 to present, where it's kind of like the systems and stuff all very work very similar. And you have I forget what the official name for it was, but it's we're the slow simming where you can watch it on the screen and stuff and jump in and out and all that kind of stuff because it allows us to do the format that I like to do. So we're going to stick with FIFA 21 to present for now. So with that in mind, instead of going to Dom's we're going to cycle back around to the back end of the pitch. We're going to do a spoiler alert here. Doing not even a spoiler, we're doing a Guglielmo Vicario Kit Quest one, because obviously we're starting FIFA 21 to present in the 2020-21 season. He's at Cagliari. I took Italian in high school, but that was many moons ago, so my Italian pronunciation is not on point, so I apologize if I mispronounced it. But he was there 2020-21. He had been there for a couple seasons, set out on loans, various loans before that. I don't know if it's various loans, but whatever. He's at Perugia 1920, but he played a couple of matches that year. I think he played 3 or 4 league matches and then all their cup matches. So yeah, it's 21. That's this black kind of. I kind of like this actually. This goalkeeper kit's pretty sleek. I like the sponsors and stuff on the front are cool. Like the one that's like a horse looks really cool. Then I the blue the blue color of the collar and the Adidas stripes and stuff is nice. So it's a pretty sweet setup. I like it. So as the player and the kid is Vicario here. It's a interesting recreation of Vicario. The haircut's definitely similar to the one in his picture there, but the face, I guess, is close enough. It's because basically the creative player is basically just generic face type for insert person here. So I guess it's close enough. But yeah, so Vicario's the Kit Quest player here. You know, as I said, he was kind of the second string. I don't know if he was second string or third string really. Probably second string because he actually played in the cups. I don't know if this chap here actually played any matches for them that year. But Vicario played a handful of league matches towards the end of the season in April, then all their cup matches, as I just said probably less than a minute ago. But it's interesting because you only what the game list is their third kit. It also seems to be their extra goalkeeper kit as well, because he wore this yellow kit in a lot of the matches. It took me a while to actually find an image of him in this black one. Which he did wear though, in his I think best one of his better matches, which is a clean sheet in the cup. I forget what round. I think what round did they start in the cup? Because it was every round they started in the cup in, I'm pretty sure. Where are we at here? Yeah, in the third round of the cup, 1-0 win over Cremonense. He started and played in this black kit, but I couldn't really find any images of that on the internet, so it's just video. But I did find an image of it. But whatever, that's neither. That's just for my little spreadsheet. But yeah, so it's this black one here, which is as I said again, all over the place, a nice one. But yes, he's the Kit Quest player, and it should be interesting. So they are very near the bottom of the table. As I scrolled past it on them. Here they finished. Does only one team get relegated? Is that really how it works? No, that's definitely not how it works. 2020-21 Serie A. I'm pretty sure the bottom 2 get relegated, right? Where's the table? I want the table. Here we go. Yeah, no, the bottom 3 teams get relegated. Yeah, there's 20 teams. Jesus Christ. I'm all over the place. Yes, they finished 16th. Basically 4 points above the relegation spots. Obviously, I don't think relegation's in here because I don't think Serie B is in FIFA 21. So we don't actually have any fears of actually getting relegated and going down to Serie B. As far as I'm aware, we're going to double check that right now and see, because I'm pretty sure there's no Serie B clubs in FIFA 21, but we are about to find out. Hit submit. No, there are. Okay, but they're actually in the game. Is Serie B in the game? If I go, we're going to go back, and we're just going to go to transfers real quick and search. If we go to country, you're going to go to Italy. And then yes, you can't find them in game here. Okay, that's very interesting. So I think they're just in the game for the cups, basically. You can't actually play in Serie B, I guess. So we don't actually have any worries of getting relegated. But they basically finished one spot above the relegation places and got knocked out in the round of 16 of the cup, or the round of 32. round of 16. So that's, I guess, not bad. They won 2 matches in the cup, which I guess isn't bad. But yeah, so not a great season. So it should be interesting here. Obviously, not have to, as I said, not to worry about getting relegated, but yeah, it should be interesting. So I guess that's kind of we hit on the base of the big points. Players Vicario, the kit's the nice black goalkeeper kit, and kind of gonna be in the bottom portion of the table. So kind of last thing I guess to check on is board goals. So they want us to. Okay, that is a bold. Jeez. Okay. Youth objective: sign 2 under 20 players. That should be easy enough to do. Like we said, most of our budget's small, so signing cheap youth players is probably kind of be the move. Brand exposure: 10 games with a goal. Again, probably gonna be hard, seeing we're like in the bottom reaches of the table. Seems like within 2 seasons, increase club worth. That should be fine. Copa Italia round of 16. That's what they reached, so we're gonna complete that goal, no problem. But finish in a Europa League spot. Pretty sure it's like I just closed the tab. Why? I probably shouldn't have closed the tab. Here we go. Okay, yeah. So the Europa League was spots 5 and 6 on the table, but I have a feeling Continental says we don't have anything. But if we go and actually look at the standings thing, ignoring the preseason tournament, and we go to Serie A. Oh no, it actually is. Okay, so they actually have it really correctly set up. So yeah, so we have to finish fifth or sixth to get into Europa League, and we finished 16th, which is 10 spots away. They finished 16th, which is 10 spots away from that. So that might be a little bit hard to actually get into Europa League, but we'll see, I guess, because again, we'll see if assuming some of these matches they lost, we can turn them into like the 19 matches they lost. We can turn some of them into wins, and some of the 10 draws into wins, maybe. But I still just don't think that's going to be enough to get us into Europa League. But we'll see. But yeah. So in terms of, I guess, clubs, we're going to be pooling players from. So Vicario, as I said, he was on loan at Perugia the year before, but it's Udinese, whereas he was like at the youth academy and stuff. He was like on their books, they never actually played. Fontana Freda, Venezia, Perugia, Empoli, and then Spurs. And for like the FGO manager thing is Darius III, so obviously a bit nebulous Persia technically, but Iran I guess is where it was mostly based out of, so we're potentially some Iranian players to kind of spice things up. But we should basically have like 2, 4, 5 different Italian clubs and Spurs. We should be able to source of players from there. Now, if we can't, or if I want to spice it up, we'll do some Iranian players as well. But yeah, I think that's it for the intro. So I'll stop talking now. In a couple seconds, will be the 2020-21 season recap, and we'll see if we can actually reach the board's lofty goals of getting into the Europa League. Okay, so here we are at the end of the 2020-21 season. So this is kind of as the recap portion, so let's get into it. As you kind of see here in the league, we did way better than I expected. We ended up finishing 4th in the league on 77 points. We're in the qualified for the Champions League next season, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, we were kind of in, honestly, for most of the season, in up and around this kind of area, the European place area. Because we had a really solid start to the season, where through match day 14, we'd only lost 1 game and drew a couple, so we were constantly kind of a little bit in the title race. Not really though. Then we kind of fell off a little bit in the kind of the middle portion of the season, which dragged us back down kind of to the Europa League area spots. But then from March onwards, we went on another really good run of matches from match day 27 to 38, where we only lost 1 match and drew 1 other and won all the rest. And we're able to finish in a Champions League spot, though it did end up coming down to the final day of the season. On the final, see who did. How do we scroll down here so we can scroll see who Napoli was playing? We need the match day we were playing Atalanta. There we go. So yeah, on the last day of the season, we were at home to Atalanta. Napoli was away to Parma, and if we had lost and they had won, they would have leapfrogged us into the Champions League spot based on goal difference. You can see they had a 36 goal difference, we had a 28, so they would have leapfrogged us into the Champions League. We would have been in the Europa League, but we ended up pulling off a 1-0 win against Atalanta with a goal from João Pedro to secure us Champions League football for next season. As you can see, Inter won the title, which is pretty crazy because I kind of checked at their kind of the beginning of March period, as you'll kind of see in a second why, to see kind of where things were at in terms of it wasn't even possible for us to win the title. And I was like, No, because like we were 20 points I think at that point behind Juventus, who were in first, and we're unbeaten at that point. They hadn't lost a match, but I guess after that point, Inter must have overtaken them and won the title by 5 points. So that's pretty crazy considering like Juve I thought were unbeaten at that point with like what 10 matches or so to go, but they ended up bottling it and losing the title to Inter. And then so that's the two of them. And then Milan are with us in the Champions League. Napoli and Torino are in the Europa League. And then if we scroll to the bottom, if relegation was a thing, the three teams that would have gotten relegated were Crotone, Benevento, and Spezia, which I don't understand because they do have like a handful of Serie B teams like in the game. Why couldn't they just like have like set up a thing where it's like the bottom three teams get relegated, and then like randomly if there's more than three Serie B teams like that are in the game, out of those three Serie B teams, randomly pick like three of them to get promoted, and then relegate the other three, and kind of just do that every season to kind of like spice things up, so you're not like playing with just the same 20 teams every year, but is what it is. So we'll be seeing all these 20 squads again next season. So obviously that's the league. The only other competition we were in was the Cup, which we'll scroll here. As we can see, Juve beat Inter in the final of the Cup, so obviously that means we didn't win the Cup. So this first season wasn't a success. We didn't win any silverware. So we will be doing at least one more. So we'll be doing a second season of this Kit Quest career mode. So how do we get on in the Cup though? So if we start here, we see we got against one of those Serie B teams. Let's see, how many are there? Empoli's in here. Let's count. Empoli, Monza, Lecce, Brescia, SP, that's five. But 1, 2, 3, 4, that's five. So there's six different, like, Serie B, or, like, I'm assuming they're all Serie B teams that are in the game. And they couldn't, like, code a thing, but that's neither here nor there. Obviously, it's probably mods for the PC version of the game that, like, fix that. Probably even just add in the entirety of Serie B and stuff, but neither here nor there at this point. So yeah, we got matched up against Brescia in round one. So I played that match because they made it to who is it? We made it to the round of 16 that year. Cagliari made it to the round of 16 the year before getting knocked out. So I had to play this match against to that point, and it took me to extra time because it was kind of like one of my first matches. So I was kind of still getting used to the system and things like that. But after extra time, we beat them 3-1 with goals from one of our signings and two goals from Alberto Cherry, who was man of the match, to move on to the round of 16, where the rest of these matches were all quick sim, because obviously we had lost this one, they had lost that one, I think it was Atalanta, and got knocked out of the cup. And then the rest I did the roll kind of thing and got sim for all of them. So, round of 16, we got matched up against Lazio, quick sim that, and won 2-0, as you can see, with goals from Duncan and Nangolan, with Raja Nangolan being man of the match. Then quarterfinals, we got matched up against Atalanta and won 1-0 with a goal from Pellegrini, with our goalkeeper Alessio Cragno being man of the match, keeping a clean sheet against one of the top sides. And then semifinals is a two-legged affair. We got matched up against Inter. So the first leg we drew away, which was away. We drew 2-2 with goals from João Pedro and Nangolan. And then basically we need a result, because I don't know if this works on away goals or not, but like the pre-match questions from the reporters seem to indicate it did, but who's to say that actually is what it is. But we needed a result in the home leg to advance, and quick simmed it, lost 1-0 and got knocked out of the cup at the semifinal stage. That's why I kind of checked to see if we were in the title race or not, just to see if I could kind of move a little bit more quickly through these last kind of 10 matches of the league season, and I ended up doing so. But yes, we lost 1-0 to Inter and got knocked out in the semifinals. So we were almost there to a miracle cup run, but not quite, which sucks. But yes, we'll be back for another season. Hopefully with some revenge to see if we can make it to the cup final that time. But yeah, in terms of other competitions that are out there, that's the preseason junk. Super Cup, Bayern beat Sevilla. Champions League, Liverpool beat Bayern. And then Europa League, Napoli beat Arsenal, who don't have any European pedigree, of course. That's why they lost. But Napoli... Oh, so Napoli would have ended up I guess they're in the Champions League anyways then, because they won the Europa League, so they should be in the Champions League. Oh, so that's interesting. So it wouldn't have really even mattered, I guess. But I guess like that they would have known. I don't think so. The final was after the end of the season, so they would have known that or not. But I guess they ended up in the Champions League. So there's going to be 5 Serie A teams in the Champions League next season. So that'll be interesting. But yes, that's kind of results and stuff. So I guess we could check out. I guess let's go to board objectives first because that'll kind of key into other things here. So youth development signed 2 players under 20. So let's get, I guess, with that in mind, since you completed that, let's get into the transfer business. Go to my club and sort by date. Nope, not by that, by date. There we go. So set some guys out of loan. So 220 players. The first one here was brought in Ethan Ampadu from Sheffield United for 3 million euros. He had spent some time on loan at Venezia earlier in his career, so that's why I was able to bring him in because he fits kind of the requirements. Having played for Venezia for a season, so we brought him in as a nice center back to replace Ragnar Klavan here, who we sold to Gremio for 830,000 euros. Then sold Pavoletti here to Real Betis for 4.5 million. And his replacement was Pietro Pellegrini, who signed from Monaco here, but he had, I think is currently at Empoli IRL, so that's kind of why we were able to bring him in, because that's another club Vicario had played for. So you kind of fit the requirements as well for 2.9 million with the 1% sell-on clause, which is never going to be activated, so we're just going to keep him the whole time. So yeah, so those were 2 signings, and sold let's see, Chara Lampos Lykogiannis, probably not how you're supposed to pronounce that, but it's my best effort, to Alanyaspor for 1.4 million euros. Then sent him out on a loan to Montpellier. So much more loans here. And then this is a loan for like kind of next season, because obviously it's after the window for Luvumbo. And then this was kind of like at the end of the season, we had a bunch of players in on loan, and like 3 of them or 4 of them. I think it was 3 of them. A handful. A handful of them kind of fit the requirements. And it's like, all right, you obviously, because like how the game works, I don't even know if any of them had a buy option or not, to be honest, but kind of was like, all right, how much budget do we have left this season? It was like 18 million or so. So I was like, all right, Razvan Marin here, played for, where did he play for? So I have that on my other sheet here. He's played for Empoli at one point in his career, so that fits the requirements there. So I brought him, kind of canceled his loan at the end of the season, and then just signed him from Ajax. Basically, the equivalent, like buy options and stuff like don't really work properly in the game. It's kind of the equivalent of me triggering like a buy option or so for 17.9 million from Ajax. So let's see, I guess how much budget we have for next season, but I blew a bunch of the budget that we had left over at the end of the season on him, which is fine by me. I think the other ones, it was Alfred Duncan and Daniele Rugani were the other 2 loans. I think that, yeah, they were the other 2 loans that kind of played for clubs that qualified to be brought in permanently, but Rugani didn't have the funds for, and then Duncan he's like really cheap, so I figured we can bring him in next season anyways with whatever budget we have, and I was like, Marin takes most of the budget, so let's use it on him instead. So yeah. So his stats I don't think will be in the squad hub, but we'll get into, I'll like read them out because I have them recorded in my spreadsheet for precisely this purpose. But yeah, so youth development, those are our 2 signings. Brand exposure, 10 games with at least 1 goal. We actually had a 14-game goal streak, which is pretty decent. Financial increase club worth by 50%, we were able to do. The domestic success reached the round of 16, we reached the semifinals, and they want us to finish top 6 for a Europa League spot, and we finished 4th in a Champions League spot, so we exceeded their goals there. And then continental success, obviously, we didn't have anything, so we were in Europe. So to kind of wrap up here, look at the player stats. And then I think kind of advance to next season and check out the board goals for that as well. Yeah, so Cragno was our starter, played most of the matches, pretty solid season. The Vicario did have like probably more more appearances than our backup goaltenders usually do, because he is the kick quest player, so I'm trying to kind of get him into a good spot. So he's in the green now, his overall is in the 70s now, which is pretty decent. Yeah, so here's Rugani, because his financial value, his value is 24.5 mil, which is more than like the 18 million which our budget was at the end of the season. So we'll see, depending on what the budget is for next year with our kind of boosted funds from making the Champions League, if we can bring him back or not, we'll see. Then Capitolini, oh geez, I probably butchered that again. But yeah, he was one who's on an expiring contract by re-upped because he played for Perugia at one point in time. There's Ampadu, pretty decent season for a young center back, brought his overall up to 71. Asamoah, he was another one whose contract was expiring, but he played for Udinese, so I kind of re-upped him as well. I guess there's Nandes, he was pretty decent for us as well. Rog. So here's Duncan. So he, as I said, he played for Venezia at some point, so he kind of fits our requirements, but his value is only, what, 4 million? So we should be able to bring him in pretty easily next season. I don't know, I think he's on loan from Fiorentina, but we'll see. Yeah. There's him. So obviously, as you can see here, no Razvan Marin, so let me look at his stats on the squad statistics page. Here we go. So he had some of this may include the like preseason junk because like it's like you can't filter it out. But in all competitions, he played 32 matches, had 3 goals, 6 assists, which is pretty decent, I would say. Nainggolan, he was pretty solid for us on loan from Inter, but he didn't really fit the requirements, so he'll be going back to Inter. This was another one of the loan players. He didn't fit the requirements either, so he's going back to Fiorentina, but he had a pretty decent season being as Mo's backup. Luvumba was trying to load him out, but no one wanted to take him on loan until after the January window, so he ended up playing a handful of matches. João Pedro, though, was probably our best player on the season. He was, let me look, scroll over. Oh, so I forgot, Cragno, because I missed his 12 clean sheets. That was third in the league. In terms of goals, João Pedro's was it 22 in the league, was good for fourth. And then his 11 assists was good for first, so he was the best assist man in the league that's the season. And then Pellegrini tried pretty decent 5 goals, 3 assists, and kind of limited appearances, kind of being rotated in and rotated sides or coming off the bench and stuff, so pretty solid from him. So him and Ampadu had equal growth, which is pretty good, so those should continue to grow next season. Then Simeone had a hot start, but then kind of tailed off towards the end of the season. But hopefully next season him and João Pedro kind of balance out the goals a little bit more. But yes, that's kind of it for the season. But as I said, we're gonna head over to next season and see. Let's see. We just got monthly report. Ooh, we went manager of the month for May, I guess. That's pretty dope. Let me guys go in here because we kind of went through a bunch of this stuff, so I can delete it. We'll leave the manager award in there because that's cool, but we'll go to next season and take a look at the goals, the board objectives for next season. Progress assessment, then it's going to be like those like 50 bajillion emails is like all the players coming back that we had out on loan, and then all the players that we had on loan going back to their parent clubs. Let's go into those here and delete them all. I'm not going to update my team sheet now. I don't understand like why it includes that, because it's literally the end of this. I guess if they came back in January, I'd be like, all right, cool, but the youth development ain't happening, chief. All right, so let's end the season. We should get fired. Here we go. Kind of end the season. We're delighted. I freaking hope so. We made it to the Champions League. So yeah, they're happy with how we're doing. So we have at least another season here, the 21-22 season, to try and win a trophy here with Vicario and Cagliari. How do you pronounce it? I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it. I also don't know why this takes. I guess it takes a lot to look like a whole new like league season or whatever. All right, preseason is kind of just basically for the money, so let's go the one that's the most money. Which I don't know like why anyone would ever actually pick one of the lower ones, unless like you suck at the game or something, you like want to play the weaker squads or whatever. But archive the performance review. All right, so we want to go to board objectives. All right, so youth development, nothing. Brand exposure. They want what? 5 wins, 5W, 5 win streak. Let's see that. You should be able to hit that. You'd hope, but you never know. Financial. Oh Jesus. All right. So, sell to crucial. and finish the season. Jeez, that's going to be hard, honestly, but we'll see. Domestic success, they want Cup quarterfinal, and then they want us to finish top 4, and then just you Champions League, just chill out in the group stage. So those are not bad for the most part. That one, obviously, by virtue of us being in the league, Champions League, we're going to complete that one. Cup quarterfinal, again, probably be kind of hard. We'll see. Because obviously, like, Cagliari had a pretty bad record. They're kind of like a lower tier Serie A side. So we end up simming a lot of the games this season, which I did end up doing this year now because they had a terrible record in 2020, 21. But so we'll see how that goes. We were able to kind of navigate and finish top 4 anyways, so we'll see. This one is going to be hard because let's see, how much budget do we have? 53 million euros in transfer budget. So Rugani, I could probably sign him as a crucial player because he's 181. So we could bring him back as a crucial. So that'd be one. And then it's gonna be hard. Like, you have to sell 2 players. Wait, did it say like 2 crucial players, or to sell 2 players in the general sense? Yeah, to sell 2 players in general, and then sign 2 crucial players to replace them. Yeah, so I'll have to go obviously off screen and kind of go through the squad and stuff and figure that out. You'll kind of see the results next season. But yeah, this was fun. So kind of gonna stop talking now, and in a couple seconds will be the 21-22 season recap, where we'll see if we can acquire some silverware. Hello and welcome back. Oh, it's not welcome back. So this is part of a large video, but we are here at the end of the 21-22 campaigns. We'll go over how we did in the various competitions and transfers and board objectives and stats and all that good stuff. So starting out with the league. So as you can see here, we regressed back to kind of where we probably should be in the league after kind of last season's miracle kind of league season where we like finished in the top 4, made it into the Champions League. We finished 11th here on 56 points, 15 wins, 11 draws, 12 losses. Decent goal differential, to be fair, but we were a solid, is that 5 points off Europa League qualification and 14 off of Champions League qualification. So yeah, not a great league season, but is what it is. So in terms of the cup, let's kind of get into it. We skipped round 1 because we were in Europe. Rounds of 16. Got Crotone, and we got play. So I played the match 1-2-0. Goals from Deola and Nandez. Quarterfinals, we got Juventus. Got really lucky there at when I did the roll. So it's 4, basically the last 5 was 4 losses and a win. I got the win, so I played the match and won 2-0 with goals from Razvan Marin and Rogue. So our midfield kind of came in and chipped in and got us the win in that one. Semifinals, I got matched up against Milan. So first leg, got quick simmed it, lost 1-0 at the San Siro. And then in the second leg at home, where we needed a win to get us through, got sim again, quick simmed it, and drew 1-1 here with a goal from Marin. But obviously, as we lost the first leg, wasn't enough to get us into the finals, where it was a Milan derby, and Inter beat Milan. And our preseason, Super Cup, Liverpool beat Napoli 4-1. In terms of the Champions League, so as you can see here, we were in Group H with PSG, Leicester, and Spartak Moscow. And the group case, it came down to the wire, where we were behind Leicester on the final day with 6 points, and we needed a win to equal them on points and to make it through to the knockout stages, or if we finish third, we'd probably get knocked down to the Europa League. And we beat Spartak Moscow 1-0 with an Alberto Cherry goal in a quick simmed match in order to move ahead of them in the standings and make it onto the knockout stages. Round of 16, we got Barcelona. So Cagliari does have some European history back in like I think the 70s, 60s, 50s kind of era. Some of it in like the 90s as well. But they had never played Barcelona before, so it was kind of did 2 2 play, 2 draws, and then 2 sim in the randomizer. And the first leg, we got draw, and we ended up winning 2-1 in a slow sim match with goals from Simeone and Alberto Cherry. And then the second leg at Camp Nou, so away from home, we got draw again, and they went up 1-0, and I kind of went in and scored with Giovanni Simeone, which got us the 3-2 aggregate lead in the tie, and we made it through 3-2. Pretty impressive stuff. In the quarters, we got the other big Spanish team, Real Madrid. Again, they had never played them. Cagliari did play, I think, Atletico at one point in Europe back in the day, but no match experience against the two biggest teams in Spain. And the first leg was at home. We got play, and I drew 1-1 with a goal from Simeone. I think it was the equalizer because we went down 1-1 and I was able to draw. And then the second leg at the Bernabeu, I got a draw for that one, and we went down twice, and I was able to equalize 2 times, and then at the end, so we were through on away goals anyways, and then at the last second, Martin Rogue scored a goal to put us through basically just on aggregate anyways, 4-3, and we won that match 3-2 and won the tie 4-3. Semifinals, we got matched up against Juve, so it was a all English semifinal at the top, and then all Italian at the bottom. And for both these matches, we got sims, so I quick sim both, and we won the first leg away from home with an Asamoah goal. And then the second leg we drew at home 1-1 with a Giovanni Simeone goal in order to make it to the final, where we got matched up against Liverpool. And then they've never played Liverpool either. They played some English teams, like they'd play Leicester, so I was able to use their results against Leicester in the randomizer. But Liverpool against, I did 2 play, 2 draw, slow sim, and 2 quick sim, and I chucked it in there and got play. So I played the match and had a Simeone hat trick, which you'll see the highlights of at the end, and we're able to win 3-0. So this is a successful Kit Quest career mode. The Champions League, obviously the biggest trophy we could probably win as our singular trophy here, which is pretty impressive. And I think we could check out the Europa League, I suppose, where Atletico beat Leicester. Okay, so if we look at, sorry about that, if we look at, I guess transfers next is next spot to go. Actually, let's go board goals first, because that'll probably help us kind of guide us to other areas. So, looking at youth development, first one was from last season, so I said we completed that last season. The second one, honestly, I didn't do, because I don't really touch the youth academy stuff at all. Brain exposure, got a streak of 5 wins. You can see our longest streak was 3. We had 3 different 3-match win streaks. See, the first one was starting in the beginning of December, where we actually went on a 5-match unbeaten run. We started with a 1-1 draw home to Bologna, and then we beat Parma, Spartak Moscow, that game I already mentioned, to get us into the knockouts of the Champions League, and then Fiorentina, and then drew with Atalanta. So we had a 3-match win streak there. And then at the end of January into February, the win against Juve in the Cup quarterfinals. Then we beat Bologna away and Sampdoria at home, but those are bookended by 2 losses. But potentially we were pretty close to the 2-5 because the 3 wins. Then the loss was the second leg away to Milan. The first leg away to Milan in the Cup semifinal. And the match after that, we beat Benevento 2-0, so we were like pretty close to a 5-match win streak. And then the last one was in April, where we had a kind of 5-match unbeaten run with 2 draws. The first leg against Madrid, and then a draw away to Genoa. Then the 3 wins were the second leg against Madrid, the thrashing of Crotone, and then a 1-0 away win against Lazio. We then broke the streak with a 2-0 loss to Inter, and then beat Juve in the first leg of the semifinals. So we were getting 2 times pretty close to hitting a 5-match win streak, but didn't quite get there. Financial, I don't know if we like. I don't think we had completed it because like our transfer budget ended up going up like a lot, but sell 2 players, sign 2 players. We'll kind of get into the transfer business, and we have a bunch of budget left, so I guess we're probably not going to complete that one. Domestic success reached the Cup quarterfinal. As we obviously I reached the semifinals and lost to Milan, and then finished top 4. We obviously finished 11th in the league, which is not great, but we ended up with silver, so it didn't really matter. Kind of pulled an Ange where he sacrificed the league for the cups and walked away with some silverware. And then Continental, they just wanted us to be in the groups, like just basically have fun, do whatever you can. And we ended up winning the Champions League in a miracle run, beating like basically like 3 of the biggest teams in Europe and 4 of the biggest teams, Barcelona, Madrid, Juve, and Liverpool on a way to a miracle Champions League success. So then in terms obviously of transfer, so who did we sell, who did we bring in? Go to my club, sort by date. So the 2 crucial players, I'll point them out when we get there, but brought back our buddy Alfred Duncan, who was on loan last season from Fiorentina, brought him in on a permanent for 4.25 mil. And the first of the 2 crucial players was make sure I display his name correctly, Daniele Rugani from Juve. So I signed him, made him a crucial player for 34 million euros. Then we sold Oliva to Belenenses for 4.4. Farago to Brest for 2.1. Aresti on loan, Godin to Villarreal for 16. Then to replace Godin, which is our second crucial player, I brought in Toby Alderweireld. I probably just butchered it. Toby Alderweireld from Dortmund for 34.1 million. So he was our second crucial player. Now so we had a bunch of sales to hit the mark there. Then Myange to Elche in Portugal for 2.1. Bright Arch to Midtjylland and for 1.5. And then our other big sale was João Pedro to Inter for 36.5. And then Tripadelli on deadline day to Tondela for 1.9 million. So all that kind of ended up in, plus other things, we ended up with an excess budget, 38.18 million. So we're not going to complete the objective there, but that's fine. We brought in back a player who was on loan, and then we brought in a new player who ended up being our club captain. And you'll see he made a crucial kind of put off Roberto Firmino, who was in basically one-on-one in the Champions League final, and then I was able to kind of go in and slide tackle. Didn't make any contact with the ball, but put off Firmino enough that he shanked his volley wide. Because if we went down 1-0, I don't know if I would have been able to win, but playing in front, I was able to kind of play my solid defensive game and kind of push for extra goals to get the win the Champions League final. Then the last thing, what else? So you got the transfers. So I guess it's just player stats, I guess, is the last kind of thing. So go to the squad hub here, look at stats. So yeah, so because we were in Europe, I was able to do pretty much basically like a 2/3 to 1/3 split between Cragno and Vicario. So Vicario played a lot kind of in the league, like against kind of the sides before or after a Champions League match, where Cragno would obviously play in the Champions League, where he played all but one match, all but 2. One of the matches, obviously Vicario played, I think it was in the group stage against Spartak Moscow, and then he played Champions League final, where he got a clean sheet. Didn't really face too many shots or anything from Liverpool because I played my strong defensive game, but he had a pretty solid season overall with 4 clean sheets in the league and 2 clean sheets in the Champions League, including the final. Then our center backs kind of starting trio was Toby, Luca Capitelli, and then Rugani. So they were pretty solid. And then our backups were Ampadu, Carboni, and Walukowicz. Kind of Zappa and Asmo were good on the kind of the flanks. And then Tremoni was also pretty solid as well. Kind of into our midfield, Rads von Maren, who we had brought in at the end of last season on a permanent, was really solid for us with 11 goals in the league. Try to make sure I don't forget who was. Okay, no, we're good. Okay, we're not. But yeah, in terms of like the kind of golden boot stuff, we don't really have any challengers there. But and Duncan pretty solid defensively. Yeah, the Tremonti also pretty solid in the league as well. Then in terms of strikers, our starting kind of duo up top was Giovanni Simeone and Alberto Cherry. Where Simeone had 8 goals in the league, Cherry had 5. They both. Oh no, that's the Champion League. Oopsie. Simeone had 7 in the league, 8 in the Champions League, including the hat trick in the final. And then Cherry had 9 in the league and 5 in the Champions League. And Pellegrini and Diogo Farias were kind of backups, where Farias had a really solid league campaign with 13 goals, and then Pellegrini had 9 and 10. With those 10 assists, was tied for second in the league behind Cristiano Ronaldo, who had 11 at Juve. But which I don't actually, I think I forgot when we were going through the standings. But yeah, Juve won the title with 89 points. The other top 4 was Napoli, Milan, the two Milan clubs, and then the Europa League spots were Roma, and then kind of surprise finisher Sassuolo with 61 points. Which actually no, I think we saw that because we showed the Champions League, but yeah, but Juve won the title. But yes, this is a pretty solid season overall, obviously, with us kind of going far in the cup mid-league season, but ended up winning the Champions League, which is pretty excellent. So this is a successful Kit Quest career mode here with Vicario and this nice kind of black and lightish blue goalkeeper kit for Cagliari. So it's gonna wrap up the series, like kind of video slash career mode here. What's up next? I'm gonna guess probably another Jersey Quest franchise mode. If I had to guess, but it might be something else. Not sure, but hopefully you enjoyed this, and hopefully we'll let you check that out. Whatever's next as well. Thank you.
One team crestfallen, the other jubilantly.
Well, there's winners and there's always losers. Fine margins between the two. Expectation wins nothing, Derek. You've got to go out there and seize the moment.
And for these players, well, it's the night of their lives, and they're determined to enjoy every millisecond.
Well, you have to enjoy it because it passes so quickly.
And they know what comes next, the presentation of the cup with the big ears.
Well, you just think how many games they've played this season as well. All that's in the past now. The game that's just happened was the most important one.
They're all poised. The Champions League winners. And you can feel the emotion. It's natural to reflect on this final, but so much hard work has gone into the entire campaign. Memories, memories. The cup with the big ears, as it's affectionately known.
And this is the moment, Derek, sharing it with the supporters. You get a chance to take it a little bit closer to those stands. Let them enjoy the experience with you. And the families are up there in the stands as well. A brilliant occasion.
It took fire as well as ice on the pitch. Necessary qualities. And now the players get to relax a bit and enjoy having the pictures taken.
Well, you know exactly where I'd be sitting in that photo, don't you, Derek?
I think I've heard it before, Lee.
Straight at the front.
Must take the lead here. Oh, but he's missed it. How on earth is this still level?
I don't know, Derek. Just a real lack of composure in the end.
And the goalkeeper, Lee, a picture of concentration.
Well, he had his eye on the ball. He waited for the striker.
Simeone. Oh, in with a chance. There it is. How about that for starters?
Well, what a huge moment that might be for this club. The fans are...
Can they slot it home? And foiled by Van Dijk. Over it comes. Well, he read the delivery superbly, but couldn't quite keep the header down. Gives it a go. Well, they can say a big thank you to the goalkeeper. That was inspirational.
Well, that's as good as a goal at the other end.
Well kept out. It's one corner after another. And now the delivery. And a goal to increase the lead in this final. Will they be stopped now? Simeone, and he's made headway. Oh, surely. And he's only gone and made it a hat-trick. Absolutely unplayable today. What a performance.